welcome back to Catholic Reboot. This episode is titled Arrogant Catholics, and I want to explain what I'm talking about. Sometimes I'll get into a topic and then I just kind of go off, or better yet, go down into a tangent on non Catholics or Bible Christians or non denominational. And it may sound arrogant. And when I listen to them, I actually think, well, that's a little harsh. I got to explain why I feel this way at times, right? So, let me give you an analogy, and maybe this will help. So, imagine someone came into your house and they took all your ancestors, also your aunts and your uncles, your grandparents, which would be your ancestors, and all your other family members, and they put them in a closet and they locked it up. And you came home one day and you said, "Where's my family?" And they say, "Oh, that, well, there's a new law. Your family really should never have existed," right? And you would kind of look and say, "What are you talking about?" And it's, well, we've discovered over the last 1,500, 2,000 years, your family was pretty bad people. And anything they taught over the centuries, any of the gifts they gave, or any of the antiquities they had, well, we took them all away because we feel they no longer should exist, right? And by the way, you better not, or you should not follow your family, right? So let's just use my family name, the Violas. So now the Violas are bad, right? And all that great history, all the suffering, hard work, progress is just dumped, right? And then you have other family members who come around and start believing that and start saying, don't talk about our ancestors and don't talk about our grandparents because, they really were bad people. And then you'd ask them the obvious question, since when? What was bad about them? Well, your great 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 grandfather, he was a little evil, and your great great grandmother, well, she did this, and so we would just rather not deal with that. So we're coming up with a whole new Viola family, right? And we're going to tell you how it is that the new Viola family should be. Okay. Well, you wouldn't go along with that, right? Out of hand, you would say, well, that makes absolutely no sense. Well, that's just what happened to our Catholic Church. I mean, exactly what happened to our Catholic Church. All of a sudden, within a 3-year period in the 1960s, they took away our family and they told us it was justified, right? And they used every instrument they could to take away our family. Now, one thing about me is you don't touch my family and you don't touch my church. And so what happens in some of these podcasts is I get angry. Now, I won't say it's justifiable anger like Christ, because number one, I'm not Christ. I think it's just, it stirs up in me the loss. I think what I'm demonstrating is a sense of loss. And so when I say return back to the true faith, it would be no different than me saying return back to the family. You know the good that was in the family, right? Now, if I go hard about the fact that the family was around 1,500 years before these other people came in and said it should no longer exist, just on the face of it, it makes absolutely no sense, right? So, excuse me for free falling in this episode because I really do want to get back to just doing more of an educational series or podcast. But every once in a while, when I look in depth at some of the things that have occurred, and when I look at the attacks my family has taken, my church family has taken, unjustifiably so, and it's getting support from even family members, I just shake my head and say, well, this is probably a purification. Because any time you go through any kind of hardship in your life, especially with your family, you'll notice when you come out the other end, you're probably better for it. You have something to fight for. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to fight for the faith. I'm trying to fight for our church because I don't want my kids and grandkids to leave my ancestors locked up in a closet. I want them to open that door. I want them to talk to those ancestors. I want them to be educated by those ancestors, just like I had the great ability to do. I feel my generation was very fortunate because we had one foot in our ancestors' world and then a foot in this new world. And this is why I constantly say, get closer to the Blessed Mother and get closer to Christ because they would be like the relatives from afar who come over and say, what's going on here? You need fortified. You have a good fight, and we'll help you fight. It's that sense of, right? So I got this, right? Right? Uh, Finally, and I'm going to keep it very short, um, if you decide that you want to go back and just learn, forget about anything else, but learn how to open up that closet to learn what these great ancestors did, let me know. I'm more than happy to give you the information that will help you get that key to unlock that closet door. Now, I'm going to do an episode on conversion. And again, I don't want this to come off as arrogant, but I could no longer leave my ancestors locked in the closet than I can my friends, family, and others I may not even know, not learn what they had done, what they had taught, and how they can help them, right? I want them to learn that. If after talking to my ancestors, boy, I'm really overusing that, kind of works, um, they decide that they have no interest and no intention and they're going to stay right where they are. Whether stay right where they are in their atheism, stay right where they are in their agnosticism, stay right where they are in their non Catholic beliefs, that's their decision. My goal or my responsibility is to just give them a key to unlock that door. The rest is up to them. And you will find, though, if you do unlock that door, there are so many treasures in that closet. There is so much information you never were taught, you never learned, and intentionally so, right? And it will bring you back to the true church, the one holy Catholic Apostolic Church. It will, because the sanctifying graces will come. You will start shedding all this other nonsense in your life. You really will. You'll start getting a sense of calm, a sense of peace, and a sense of purpose. And it'll allow you to start focusing on Christ much more through who? The aid of the saints of the church. This is why the Council of Trent was very specific about that. Very specific about divine honor, right? Because we are taught our divine honor is only for the Trinity, right? But we can have a respectful honor to those people that helped unlock those closet doors over the centuries and actually put gifts in those closets. And when you see every time I do the feast of a saint, you're going to see their lives were not normal lives. These were sanctified human beings, but they were sanctified by Christ. They were given the gifts by Christ. Our faith is not inherited. And you know it's not because you have family members that have little to no faith and other family members that have great faith. Faith comes from Christ. And how does Christ give us the faith? Through sanctifying graces. We always have to seek out sanctifying graces. The best way to do that is to get away from our own self needs and put our focus back on Christ through the saints if it helps. The lives of the saints are a perfect model of how we should focus on Christ, actually, the Trinity, right? So some saints had great respect for Christ, some had great respect for the Holy Ghost, some had great respect for God the Father, some had great respect for the Trinity, some had great respect for the Blessed Mother. Their respect was well founded. So I'm not an arrogant Catholic, I'm a fighting Catholic. I fight as hard for my church as I do my family. So the day I take my last breath, I hope I'm received with welcome, you good and faithful servant, and not go away, you traitor. Right? I was given these gifts. I got to bring them out or they're going to get locked up in the closet with my ancestors. Thank you very much.